Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm back with another league racing video. As you can see, it's at Spa. This was a race in ALR. I'll put the link to that Discord from them in the description. The 5th race of the season. We didn't have a great start to the season. We got 1 second place, but for the rest nothing to write home of. So as you can see, we're doing a one-shot qualifying. It's a little bit of a different format just for this race, a 5-lap race. After this, which then decides the race or the grid for the 50% race. So a little bit of sprint race. So now we have a one-shot qualifying and on Spa. So yeah, kind of scary, I might say, because Spa is just a very long track and a lot of corners, and I went into this just thinking that I need to put in a valid lap. So at this point we have done all right. We didn't hook it up perfectly, but I looked down on the steering wheel and I saw P4. So, and this is the part where it's very dangerous to spin. So we decided to not even touch the curbs there. And just go safely through, because I saw P4 and I thought it would be so stupid to throw that away by taking any risks. So in the end, looking down, we're still P4 at this point. I can't really see it, but we're around P4, I know that for certain. So we only have the bus stop and we just can't mess that up. And touching the curb, the second curb, and getting onto the throttle early. We hooked it up alright, and I was pretty happy with this lap. We do a 42.779, which was alright, and it puts us third, as you can see, 7/10 or 7/1000 behind our teammate and 1/10 behind championship leader Trocker. So we're in third place. Now we have the 5 lappers and we're in a good position, of course, to get a good qualifying position for the 50% race, with what really matters. So this race was really the 5 lappers. It was really just important to not get caught up in a collision. And yeah, we're gonna do just that at the start, as you can see. So 5 lights and the lights are out. We get a decent start. Our teammate gets a really good start, but the Ferrari doesn't. So we go to the inside and we're gonna brake later than him. But it makes us 3 wide, and this is why we sandwich the Ferrari. It pushes the Ferrari into my teammate, unfortunately. And my teammate spins, and the Ferrari Trocker gets front wing damage from that. So really unfortunate. In the end, at this point I felt like I really, I still feel like it was a racing incident, but I got 5-second time penalty for it after the race, which I don't agree with, but it's fine. And here you can see we brake at our normal point. Here Joe Royal behind us actually touches our rear, and he gets front wing damage from that as well, which also I didn't know at this point of the race. So you're gonna see through Pool on here, he's gonna lose a bunch of time and a bunch of places, and that creates a gap between me and Polhuis. And that gap, I was able to keep that gap. It was going up and down a little bit because I was making some mistakes, and then it was going down again. But as you can see in the top left, after 5 laps we are able to bring it home and we get that first place. But as I said, we got a 5-second time penalty on our pants, and yeah, I didn't know that at the time, of course. So at this point I was very happy that I still got first in the 5 lappers. I was really not happy for my teammate, of course, but I felt like I don't know, I couldn't really do anything else at that point, or I could have backed out of it. But yeah, I wasn't planning to make a half move on him, and the Ferrari was going a little bit slower. So yeah, I still feel like I wouldn't have done anything different looking at it back. It was just unfortunate and a racing incident in my eyes. But we're starting P1. And as you could see, there's going to be a tiny bit of rain. We're going to start on the mediums. We have a free tire choice. The top 3 start on mediums, then the 4th and 5th place start on softs. Then I think the people after it start on the mediums, except for a couple of persons. But we've got a great start, as you can see, and we're covering up the inside, so no one else can do what we did to the other person in the 5 lappers. So we get a great start and already are 7/10 away from the 2nd place. So we only have to use some ERS, and he's not gonna be able to catch up 7/10 and overtake us into the next corner. So we're good, and actually the 3rd place now has just been overtaken by a soft runner, which is important to note because the softs at this point in the race are going to be faster. But we're going to skip a lap further and we get our first warning, and actually I was able to keep that little 7/10, 8/10 gap between me and the softs. He was not really getting really close, and I wasn't even using a lot of ERS, so I felt good. I felt like I had good pace. And here you're gonna see we now have already gotten one warning, and here we go wide again and we get another warning. So we've already got 2 warnings, and of course if I get a 3rd one, it's gonna be a penalty, and we've got 3 seconds. So now we have to do 20 laps on Spa without getting any warnings, while still being quick, of course. So a VSC gets deployed, and yeah, we're gonna skip until it's ending, of course. So now the soft runner is still behind us, but still he's not closing the gap. Like, the gap is not getting closer than 7/10 or 6/10. So we're good. Like, with 7/10, even with DRS, it's very hard to, well, it was for him, it was hard to overtake, so he was not really getting too close. So now if you look at the top left, he had made a mistake in the last corner, I think, in the bus stop. He loses some tenths, and this means that in the DRS detection point here, we use some overtake as well. We get him out of the DRS. This then means that Boba Fett in 3rd place, the other soft runner, is able to overtake him because he has DRS, of course, on him. So he's gonna overtake him. This means that Boba Fett, who was behind the Salieri the whole time, he was able to save his ERS the whole time, judging by his pace. I'm not quite sure if that's actually true, but that's the guess that you're gonna have to make. And now you can see my ERS is pretty low, so I've got like 30%. Boba Fett is probably pretty high, so I can use the rest of my ERS and then not have any ERS, and then I still have the gap for a second. But I decided to not use a lot of DRS, to keep that little bit just in case, and not drain everything, because if you get below 10%, you're gonna feel it. Like, you're gonna, not even without using it, you're gonna be very slow. So I was really trying to use the ERS really wisely and just use a tiny bit at certain points, because it really just couldn't afford to use more. So here we're going to use a little bit, and we've got a gap for 1.2 seconds, and here you can see him using some ERS, or he just has way better straight line speed. And actually the Salieri there spun, which means that we've got one competitor less to worry about, even though they are on a different strategy. So it's mainly the McLaren in 3rd place that we have to worry about, but we've still got a gap to him, almost 3-second gap, so that's pretty good. Boba Fett here pits, the soft runner pits, so we still have a gap, and now we're just gonna put our head down and focus and not try to not get any warnings. Just keep this gap, because right now we're in control. We have the pace. We don't even need to take any risks because we have such a big gap, and we do exactly that. So after 3 laps, we've increased the gap to 3.6 seconds to the McLaren behind us, and we're gonna pit right here to the softs. Boba Fett, of course, on the mediums is expected to undercut us, and it's gonna be interesting to see where he comes out. The McLaren actually stayed out for another lap, which is really gonna hurt him, because we're gonna be on the softs and we're gonna increase the gap even more. So Boba Fett here, you can see, is 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds ahead of us, which is a really small gap because we've got 8 laps still on these softs to go, and these softs are completely fresh, and so it's not gonna be hard to catch up. But we have got another car in between us now, and that's Kazoo, and we were in a party with him, so I wasn't expecting like him to fight me that hard, but I also didn't want to ruin his race, of course, or cost him time for his race. He at this point was on, I think, older softs, not quite sure. I think he still had to make a pit stop, or older mediums. He still had to make a pit stop. So yeah, we're in P6. We're closing in on these mediums, and as you can see, just these softs are so much faster. You can see we just avoid those curbs because it's just too much of a risk, to be honest. So just avoid them completely, and it's not necessary to touch him. Here we put on our overtake. Kazoo does not put on any overtake. We could have used a little bit more to get completely ahead of him, but I actually thought that I would be more ahead. But yeah, as you can see, Boba Fett just outside of a second, but just inside a second right now. So we're gonna get DRS on the main straight, and of course we want to try and get past him straight away, because he has a 3-second time penalty, but we also have 2 warnings, so we are still very close to another warning. And it's also important to note that due to the 5-lapper incident, we have a 5-second time penalty, and at the time I didn't know, and I didn't feel like I would get a penalty, and I didn't think about it, of course, but it turns out to be quite important, because right now you see Boba Fett is still on the mediums. We're just gonna be way faster, and right now I felt like we've got this win. We only have to drive it home, so we only have to not make any dumb mistake, just use these softs, use some nice pace, not take any dumb risks with taking curbs and stuff. We're gonna actually stay on board for this entire lap, because this is gonna be my fastest lap, and at the time I didn't even think about the fastest lap, like at the end of the race. You see that we're so scared to touch those curbs, you see on our steering wheel. But yeah, we could have used a lot more ERS to really get a faster lap looking at this back. Yeah, but nonetheless, we still increase the gap to Boba Fett. He uses a lot of overtake here, which we don't. We should have used some overtake as well to get an even faster lap, but in the end it doesn't even matter. So we are gonna cross the line. Is it gonna be the fastest lap? Yes, it is. It's a 44.5, and we still have some laps to go. So now we have got a 5-second time penalty, and if we would finish right now, Boba Fett would be 4.2 seconds behind us. So we still have to increase that gap, which is going to be easily possible. So we're going to skip one more lap, and we've increased the gap to 3.2 seconds. But you can see Kazoo retires from the session, and it brings out a safety car. Yeah, so it brings out a safety car. This means that we're on the soft tires, and we've got a medium runner behind us, luckily. And I still had 2 warnings, of course, but you can see in the top left everyone behind us has 3 seconds. So I wasn't worried about the win at this point. So I just felt like, alright, we're just gonna not make it hard, try to pull away from Boba Fett. And where should I go? What would be the best way to go? I knew that in the bus stop chicane is it's a whole chicane, and if you have faster tires, which we had compared to those mediums, of course we want to go through that chicane quickly and use those tires. So we're gonna go already at this point, and it catches Boba Fett off guard. We brake way too early for this corner because we're not used to going in there so slow, but still we increased the gap to 1 second straight away. So we have a very good restart. Couldn't have gone, well, it could have gone better, but we're really happy with that safety car restart. Of course, now 1.3 seconds. DRS is not going to be open, but still, he's also not going to be in my slipstream. So now it's important to, in the top left, is Boba Fett going to be able to keep Polehouse behind? We are able to create a gap, and we're going to skip to the last lap. And yes, Boba Fett was able to keep the soft runners behind. So as you can see, we've got a gap for 3-second gap, and it's going to increase to a 6-second gap, which then means that even with the 5-second time penalty, which I don't agree with, but it's all good, we still get that P1, and I'm very happy with this because this is my first proper win without the racing lines. So very good race driven by me, despite of the incident, the one incident, but yeah, I already told you what I think about it. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and like. In the screen right now you can see my last league racing video. Go ahead and watch that, and I'll see you guys next time.